South Africa has a history that is steeped in violence and oppression, intimidation and violence. Before the fall of the apartheid government, we could blame all our social ills on the system. But after the fall of that system, after the overthrow of that government, we still are plagued with many of the same social issues. So who do we blame now? And where do we look to for answers? Is a free, fair and peaceful and safe South Africa really something that is obtainable? Will it remain just a far-fetched ideology of old-time freedom fighters who fought for our freedom? Will it remain just that, an ideology? As a person who has lived through the dregs of an oppressive system, and who is still here now, in the early years of our so-called free democracy, all I can say is that not much has changed in terms of the suffering of our people. Welcome back to my channel here at Vukasiswe, where we have real talks about real life issues. I greet each and every one of you that has tuned in, and good day also to my President, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. As I promised you in my last video, we will be delving deeper into issues of abuse in relation to crime and also to each and every one of us individually, how it affects us. When you have been taught from a young age, when it has been instilled in you from a young age that you can use violence and intimidation as a means to solve your issues in life, the chances are that by the time you reach adulthood, you would have perfected the art of abuse. Slapping someone or stabbing someone would not in the least bit bother you. And going to prison would be the least of your worries, because prison is a place where violence and intimidation is at the order of the day. So it is not something that you would not be familiar with. When people say that criminals are not scared to go to jail, that our laws are too lenient, or that prison is nice, they forget to acknowledge the small fact of the role that we as society play in shaping our criminals. Not having a job, not having a stable income, being hungry, or having to look at your previous oppressors, how they are still reaping and benefiting from the fruits of their oppression of your people, while your life is a daily struggle of survival. That is a form of abuse. When you have studied for 12 years towards finding your financial freedom, only to be told that there's no job available for you, or when you have fervently supported a cause that stood for the upliftment of the people, only to find that the forerunners, the leaders of that cause, is now living in fancy neighborhoods, in shameless splendor, while you are still homeless after many decades. That is a form of abuse. When you have been taught by your parents, or by your church, or by your government, that you are superior to others based on the color of your skin, And those leaders and those forerunners of that ideology, they take what they still can that they can loot, and they abdicate to another country, leaving you to deal with the consequences of their twisted ideologies. That also is a form of abuse. So now I've touched like vaguely on the social types of abuses. Allow me now to mention some of the more personal types of abuses that we suffer on a daily basis. My first experience of abuse was not in the streets, not from strangers, but from the hands of my mother, in the way she treated me. And directly after that, the next abuse I suffered was at the hands of my mother's employer at the time, who was referred to as Baas in those days. And this all happened while I was still under the age of 3 years old. Oftentimes, when I scroll through social media, I find these short videos that depicts parenting in Caucasian households as opposed to that in African households. And oftentimes, these depictions, the story behind it would be that a Caucasian parent would let bad behavior slide. They would be lenient toward their kids when they are doing wrong. But then, for the same thing in an African family, one look or gesture, threatening gesture from a parent would stop that kids from whatever perceived misconduct. And I find this so ironic. The hundreds and thousands and of even millions of likes and laughing, smiling faces in support of this narrative. I find it ironic because it was the Caucasians who came and forcefully enforced on us this culture of submission through intimidation and violence. If ever a study has been or would be conducted on the causes of crime, I am more than certain that victims of abuse would be at the top of that list, along with poverty and unemployment. I know this for a fact because I am a product of it. And I know of many others that have been through the same things, more or less, that I've been through, and that can attest to what I am saying. Children growing up in an abusive households are more likely to commit crime in their later years, as opposed to children growing up in loving and caring family environments. If you are told by your parents on a day, or a family member, on a daily basis, that you are not good enough, or that you are a failure, that is a form of abuse. If your partner comes home every day and complains about the food is not cooked right, or the house is not cleaned properly, while you know you tried your best, that is a form of abuse. If your partner constantly tells you that you are not pretty enough, that you are too fat or you are too thin, that is a form of abuse. If you are a child living in a family home and you are attacked or assaulted physically for any perceived misbehavior, that is abuse. If you are told by your friends at school or in your peer group that you need to do something that you are not comfortable with in order for you to fit into their group, to be a part of their group. That also is a form of abuse. If you are paid a certain amount of money to deliver a specific service, and it is expected of you every time to deliver more than what was agreed upon without being compensated for it, that too is a form of abuse. If you do everything within your power to appease someone that is upset or not happy about something, and no matter what you do, this person is just not satisfied, that too is a form of abuse. So, obviously, there are many other forms of abuses, but I'm just mentioning a few for the purpose of this channel, to bring awareness around this issue. Because of our history as a country, we've become so indifferent to these everyday types of abuses, to the point where it doesn't bother us anymore. For many of us, it has become the norm and it is acceptable to a certain extent. We feel that these are minor issues in the greater scheme of things. Only when these minor abuses leads to more serious abuses, such as murder, assault, armed robbery, rape, etc., it is only then that we want to call for reprisals from the state. Guys, we need to really wake up. We need to take stock of what is really causing this crime. Blaming the state or outside entities for our social ills is not going to change anything. We need to, each of us, do an internal stock taking of the roles we as individuals play, and to start making the necessary changes towards a better future for the generations to come. In my next and last installment on this issue of abuse, I will speak about the effects of abuse in relation to crime and the traumatizing effects it has on its victims, and also ways of how to become a conqueror and not just a survivor of abuse. Much love and great respect to everybody that has watched this video till the end. My mission, as it states in the name of my channel, I want the nation to wake up. I trust that I am doing exactly that. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and please share this video to others. Stay blessed until next time.